I describe myself as an ordinary person living an extraordinary life. Je vais vous réchauffer. Je m'appelle allanah Starr et je suis an artiste et meneuse de revue and many other things. Ah yes, this is Mr. O. He is 3 years old. I was actually born in Cuba and my family migrated to the United States when I was 5 years old. My family started from zero and we spoke no English. So it was complicated and then difficult for me because I was slightly different than most people. I remember very clearly I was 5 years old. These kids came up to me on the playground and asked me if I was a boy or a girl, and that was my first realization that I was different, but I didn't know that I was different. It was a very disturbing question and it made me very uncomfortable because until that point I was just being me. It escalated from there. Oh, people were really mean to me because I was so different than them. And is he making too much noise? I'm sorry. It's okay. All right. You're gonna talk? You're gonna talk? And it wasn't until I discovered drama and that I was good at that is that I really understood that I wanted to be a performer.
Sorry, I'm on stage. Hello.
I did not start my transition until I was about 2021, on the cusp. People always think that when you transition, it's like it just kind of happens and it's a decision, but it really isn't like that. When I look back at my childhood, I wasn't conscious of it at the time, and I had no idea that I could do that until I saw videos of these famous beauty pageants in America called Miss Continental, and I saw these beautiful trans women and I was like, wow, this is possible. And then that clicked something in my mind and I said, oh, well, I can do this too because this is who I am. I think that I wouldn't be alive if I had not done this. I've had lots of plastic surgery. I've actually lost count on the operations because you have to understand that when I started, it was a very different world. We didn't have internet. Surgeries that exist now didn't exist then. It's really just a physical transition. You know, you remain who you are as a person inside. You're just matching the shell to your mind. That's really all it is. People make a big deal about it, but it really is not a big deal.
I felt like a woman trapped in a man's body and I needed my outside to match my inside.
Remember, I could not become an actress. So what did I do? I became a porn actress.
Oh, my career in porn. It started really because I worked in cabaret, nightclubs, and shows in Miami. Then when I transitioned, that work had become really scarce. People actually weren't very accepting. Back then, there were not really many opportunities. You were either a showgirl, a hairdresser, makeup artist, or a sex worker, which is probably the case in most parts of the world today, even still. And I just needed to survive, and so I went into the sex business.
Hi, I don't think we've met before. My name's Alana, and I like your tattoos. They're kind of sexy.
At the time, I kind of realized what so many men were attracted to trans women, but of course nobody really talks about that. Most men were only interested in that anyway, so I said, well, I'm gonna make a business out of it, and that's what I did, and that's how I got involved in porn. There's no shame about it or no bad experience about it because it was my choice. I mean, I built this character through that, so I have no regrets about it. I enjoyed it.
I'm not that kind of a girl. Wait a minute. Yes, I am.
Oh, I just started to write a little outline, you know.
Les nouvelles, c'est que le show s'est bien passé et qu'on va revenir cet hiver. On revient cet hiver aux Folies Bergères. Ouais.
Can't wait. I talked a little bit to Mark about it because I want to write a new piece about my life my life as a trans in sex business and also my 300 years in the sex business.
Allanah, c'est une muse, c'est une artiste, et c'est quelqu'un de très doux et qui a beaucoup d'humour aussi.
Qui a un humour cinglant comme moi j'aime.
We have the same sense
Ouais.
of humor. We like the same trash.
Cinquième degré, un peu de trash, ouais. Ça j'adore. Yes, closer to me. Yeah, perfect. What do you want?
What you identify as is you. If you know, you're straight or bi or gay or pansexual or so forth. But in my experience, and I have a lot of experience, it's a very complicated subject because it used to be that a lot of men would say to me, am I gay? And I would say, I don't know, are you? Because I don't know the answer to that question. And I found that specifically in France, that people always feel they have to tell you I'm straight, and I'm like, great. You know, they have to assert their masculinity, which is in a way is a toxic form of masculinity, because if the same man was talking to a woman who was assigned female at birth, he would never have to say to her, I'm straight. Liking trans is really still a social taboo, and there's a lot of judgment and shame about that.
Matin gris à Paris, trottoir mouillé, vague à l'âme.
I sort of was in New York living, and then I arrive in Paris, and my friend tells me to go to Club Sandwich, this party at Espace Garden, and that's how I meet Mark Zafuto and Emmanuel Dorazio. And then they asked me to do a show. The Phantasma show. That's been absolutely incredible to be able to do that show, and at the Théâtre Variété, even at the Folies Bergère, it was just an incredible experience.
My name is Alannah Starr. I am your mistress of ceremonies, and I want you to come inside Phantasma.
I don't think I'm an activist, but Phantasma is definitely a platform, because like I always say at the end of the night, the real message of the show is acceptance and self-love and liberty. And it's very important also that we're raising money for AIDS and for shams. If we didn't do that as part of the message, then it wouldn't work, because the show is beautiful and artistic and entertaining, but there is a much deeper message behind it. I really want to speak about my life in the sex industry, the subject we talked about earlier, you know, transition in my life, and talk about the good and the bad and surviving AIDS pandemic and all the things that I've been through that we forget about. Really the most important thing in life is to accept yourself, and life is much better when you do that and you sort of accept yourself. Happiness comes and goes. I think that the real goal in life is to be content and be okay where you are, and certainly have goals and ambitions and work. Like Mr. O. I think now everything I do revolves around being positive and as content as possible.